Hi, so in today's video lesson, we want to look at the concept of position and distance. So if you get this diagram on your screen, you would see that we have 2 points. We have 2 points, this point here, I'm going to call this point P, I'm going to call this point Q. So this point is actually, the address of this point is actually X comes before Y, X1, Y1. And the address for this point here is X2, Y2. So this is the address for these 2 points, P and Q. Now, when we look at the distance between these 2 points, what is the distance between these 2 points? So the distance is going to be, we're going to draw a straight line between P and Q. And that's it. That's the shortest distance between P and Q. All right, good. Then how do we find the distance between them? Now, we're going to do something like a triangle. We're going to form something like a triangle to actually find the distance. This is this, and this is this. So I've closed up this triangle. And now the question we're going to ask ourselves is, what is the distance between here and here? Now, the distance is actually the difference between these two. And that's going to be x2. Let me change that color. That's going to be x2 minus x1. Now, to find this, what's the distance between here and here? So that's going to be difference between these two. And that's going to be y2 minus y1. So now if you ask yourself, this looks like, what's the shape of this? This looks exactly like a right angle triangle. And this line PQ looks like the hypotenuse of the triangle. Okay, good. So how do you find using the Pythagorean theorem, how do you find the hypotenuse of this triangle? So you're going to have PQ squared, right, equals to x2 minus y1 squared as the square of the other two sides plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, good. Now we're going to take the square root of both sides. That will be PQ equals square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So this is the formula for finding the distance between 2 points, let's say PQ. So this is the formula, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So let's take examples to actually see how to use this formula. All right, so let's say we have this point P, 3, 2. Let me write that properly, 3, 2. And then you have another point Q, 2, 4. Now, to do this, we're going to label this x1, y1, x2, make sure x come before y, x2, y2. Okay, good. And remember that formula that says that PQ is equal to square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, so then the line PQ, the length of this line is going to be square root of what? What's the x2? 2. Then minus x1 is 3 squared plus what's your y2? 4 minus what's your y1? 2 squared. And that gives us PQ equals square root of what? 2 minus 1 is 2 minus 3 is minus 1 squared plus 2 squared. And that gives us square root of 1 plus 4. And thus PQ becomes square root of 5. So I can leave my answer like this. So but I have to write just unit. I don't know what that unit can be. It can be anything. So the length is actually root 5 units. Alright, let's see another example. Let's see point R is 4, 6, and point S is minus 2, 3. Alright, so we have x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, remember the formula? So RS then will be what? RS has to be square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, then RS, let me change the color, then RS would be square root of, what's that, x2, x2 is minus 2 minus x1, what's that, x1, 4 squared plus, what's that, y2, 3 minus, what's that, y1, 6 squared. Now RS becomes square root of minus 2 minus 4 is minus 6 squared plus 3 minus 6 is minus 3 squared. And that gives us RS now becomes square root of 36 plus 9, because minus 3 squared is actually 9. And that gives us RS becomes square root of 45. So that becomes square root of 45 unit. So let's take one more example to actually finalize this. Let's say we have 2 points x is 1, 3 and y is minus 2, 3. So then this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. Remember that formula? Xy then becomes what? Square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And so we have xy equals square root of, what's that, x2 minus 2 minus 2 minus, what's that, x1 1 squared plus, what's that, y2, our y2 is 3 minus y1, what's that, y1 is 3 squared. And so we have xy becomes square root of what? Minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3 squared. Minus 3 squared, then minus 3 is 0. So you have 0 squared. And so you have xy equals square root of minus 3 squared is 9. So square root of 9 is 3. Xy equals 3 units. So this is how to find the distance between 2 points. And you can do that for any given 2 points in both mathematics and physics. All right, good.